Every human starship carries one crew member the aliens cannot comprehend. Not an admiral, not a soldier, not even a scientist. She sits quietly in her chair, knitting needles clicking, cookie tin resting on her lap. The galaxy calls her the final weapon. And when the unstoppable Threxian armada demanded Earth surrender, humanity didn't send their fleets. They sent Grandma May. Before we dive in, please like and subscribe and tell us where you're watching from. Let's continue. The Threxians had never known defeat. They were a war-born species, forged in fire and conquest. Their fleets stretched from one spiral arm to the next, hundreds of billions bowing beneath their banners. Worlds burned in their path, and no civilization could resist. Now their war drums thundered toward Sul. The alien High Command sent a message to Earth. Surrender unconditionally or be obliterated. It was not a bluff. The United Terran fleet scrambled, ships armed, defenses raised, alliances begged for aid. But deep inside Fleet Command, an old protocol stirred, one created long ago, whispered about only in the darkest contingency plans. It was not called Scorched Earth or planetary annihilation. It was called the Grandma Protocol. Maeve Callahan had lived through 3 wars, 5 children, and 14 grandchildren. She had baked more pies than the human race had launched warships. Her eyes sparkled with warmth, her hands carried the soft tremor of age, and her voice could comfort or scold with equal weight. When the fleet summoned her, she packed simply a tin of cookies, her favorite shawl, and her knitting needles. The officers saluted her with the same reverence they would a battle admiral. For everyone knew the truth. Humanity's most dangerous weapon wasn't forged of steel or plasma. It was the power of guilt, patience, and unconditional love sharpened into a force the galaxy had no defense against. The Veyron fell to storms. The Kalari fell to the arenas. And now, the Threxians would face something far worse. Grandma May. The Threxian flagship Bloodrand hung over Mars like a floating mountain, bristling with weapons. Their supreme commander, Carthan the Unbroken, demanded humanity kneel before him. Instead, a single human shuttle approached. When the bay doors opened, the aliens expected negotiators or warriors. Instead, May stepped out, adjusting her shawl against the chill, cookie tin balanced on her hip. The Threxian guards laughed, a deep, guttural sound. This fragile creature, this wrinkled soft skin with bent shoulders and slow steps. But then May looked at them, not with fear, not with anger, but with that piercing gaze every child knows, the look of a grandmother disappointed in your life choices. And the laughter died. Commander Carthan towered over May, his armor bristling with spikes, his voice a thunderous growl. "You dare insult the Armada with this frail offering?" he roared. "We demand your leaders, not your relics." May set down her tin, opened it, and lifted out a still warm oatmeal cookie. She placed it on a plate with slow, deliberate care, then slid it toward the warlord. "You've clearly not eaten enough," she said gently. "No wonder you're so cranky." The Threxian court froze. Carthan reached for the cookie, sneering, then stopped. May's eyes locked on his claws, narrowing. "Not with those dirty hands," she scolded. "Did your mother teach you nothing?" The warlord of 1,000 conquests, breaker of worlds, scourge of empires, hesitated. Slowly, shamefully, he wiped his claws on a napkin before taking the cookie. The silence in the hall was absolute. Carthan bit into the cookie. It was sweet, soft, filled with warmth he had not known since childhood. Memories surged, his mother's voice, his lost home world, a life before endless war. His throat tightened. His eyes stung. May reached across the table, patted his clawed hand, and whispered, "It's not too late to make better choices, dear." The supreme commander of the Threxian Armada burst into tears, in front of his generals, in front of the galaxy-wide broadcast. And through his sobs came the order, retreat. The Armada, undefeated for centuries, turned tail and fled before a woman with knitting needles and cookies. The galaxy shook. Analysts, spies, and strategists tried to explain what had happened. How had humanity broken the unbreakable? Some whispered about secret neurotoxins in the cookies, others about hidden psychic fields. But the truth was simpler and far more terrifying. Humanity had discovered the ultimate weapon long ago, a weapon forged in patience, wrapped in kindness, sharper than any blade, the guilt only a grandmother could give. The Threxians never returned. Other empires thought twice before testing humanity, and on every human starship, one crew member became non-negotiable. Not a soldier, not an admiral, but a grandmother. Because when plasma cannons fail and fleets fall, sometimes the galaxy just needs someone to say, "I'm not angry, just disappointed." The universe expected humanity's strength to come from weapons, from fleets, from fire. Instead, it came from the one force that had raised generations, healed wounds, and shaped the human spirit: grandmothers. If this story made you smile, subscribe, share it, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Because sometimes the smallest kindness, or the firmest scolding, can change the fate of the stars.